seat you by the fire. Listen, listen, there's something I must confide.
To start, I quickly flattened my brows a bit with a glue stick and then put a bit of concealer over top. The brows don't have to be perfectly covered or erased since I'll be painting over them, but it just helps to neutralize the color a bit. Then, to create a more ghostly complexion, I just mixed my BB cream with a clown white face paint from Graftobian and applied that to my face and neck. Though you don't have to worry about the forehead as much since that's where the lace design will go. I followed that up with a bit of translucent setting powder and then moved on to the eyes. For this, I started with a hot pink as my outer color and carried it up to the brow bone, which I then followed with a red and purple, moving towards the actual eyelid. I just find it a little bit easier to blend from the lights to darker shades so you can get an easy transition. Following the colors, I just took a matte black eyeshadow and patted that onto the lid. To blend it out, I just used a bit of the purple and tried not to touch the black so it would stay opaque. And if you find yourself getting fallout for this, you can always add a bit of extra powder under the eyes to catch it and then brush away. I used a clean brush to feather the edges more and blend outwards, and then I just used a black gel liner to go over my lower and upper waterlines. For the lips, I didn't really record it that well, but all I did was use a black liner to outline and fill inward slightly, and then I used a deep burgundy liquid lipstick over top and to just fill in the rest. For the lace design, I used my Wolfe black Hydrocolor and a 00 fine art liner brush. A brush that is very finely shaped like this gives you the ability to do either large and thick line work as well as very fine detailing. I originally sketched out a design on paper by looking at multiple swatches of lace patterns and just kind of built it up from there. I knew I wanted the two areas under the eyes and across the nose to be the same and that the rest could be a little bit more freeform. The easiest way to get the super thin lines is to add more water to the brush so it has less of a creamy consistency, and then take your time and press very lightly when pulling down. For the crosshatch strokes, a light hand and quick flicks of the brush will be the simplest way to get that result.
You can call me killer, 'cause I'll bring you to the light, and it might taste bitter.
For the rest of the design, I actually really enjoyed the lace patterns I found that weren't entirely symmetrical and were a bit more organic. So to connect the flower shapes that I made, I used different line shapes and filled in the areas with what I thought looked interesting. The forehead, I kept with the idea of rose lace designs. I created a central rose to act as a focal point and built it outwards. I made the cross-hatching in the leaves tighter so it would look more embroidered with a close stitch work and create some better contrast. And then for the rest of the area, I just filled it in with similar flower shapes and leaves across the forehead.
You can call me killer, 'cause I'll bring you to the light, and it might taste bitter when you're answering to God. You can call me killer as you look into my eyes. Nothing but a sinner. You won't get away this time. You won't get away this time. You won't get away this time. You won't get away.
When I reached a point where I was pretty happy with the design, I started filling in the open areas with more cross-hatching to look like the lace fabric. I didn't worry too much on making sure all the lines were parallel or connected because I find it gives a great effect just by having different areas hint at that full thread count. And again, having that extra water on the brush was really helpful in getting that thin line effect I was after. Just always be sure that you don't have too much on there so it doesn't drip or ruin your design. I love the intentional fraying look of some lace as well, so I just went along the bottom of the design and pulled downwards with my brush. Afterwards, I just went lightly over the design with some gray and black eyeshadows to just better fill in those lace areas and make them look a little bit softer. I added a little bit of extra shadow along the bottom as well, just to help amp up the contrast of the edge of the lace. I didn't want to leave the neck area completely bare, so I just did a bit of simple contouring with a warm gray color and a dense brush. And I wanted to emphasize the natural bone structure along the collarbone, as well as kind of make it look a little bit more unnatural and add some indentations that were a little bit more otherworldly. Last step, of course, was to throw in a pair of white mesh contacts and a black wig, and that was it for my blind seer look. Thank you so much for watching, guys.